Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. This is the third layout I made with my June page kits. It is inspired by a sketch. It's sketch number 18 from Scrapbook Generation. It's a free sketch, so I'll make sure to link that below in the description in case you wanted to also get a better look at it. I am scrapping pictures of my cousin picking out her wedding dress, and I thought it worked really nice with these pastel pink and aqua colors. So the sketch is having this giant diagonal go across in the background, and I decided to use the more generic and solid tones. So I kept the pink gridded paper and then cut the white and aqua striped paper diagonally. This was a little hard because I didn't have a cutter that stretched the full length of the diagonal of a 12 by 12, but I managed. I folded it in half and just cut it right down the line of where I folded. I did leave the center part of the paper open just in case I wanted to tuck anything in, so I only did adhere to the two sides on the edges. My photos were printed on a regular 4x6. I had 3 2x4s. Because they were vertical pictures anyway, I thought I could squeeze them all onto one. And I did cut them apart because in the sketch they did have 3 separate photos, and each of those photos were also matted. And to help them stand out a little bit more, I matted them on this pretty teal floral print and gave them each a very thin border, but enough to just help them stand out. I also used the more generic pattern papers for my background because in the sketch there are 2 big clusters and they're floral clusters. I didn't have any embellishments in my kit that were flowers, so I did have the pattern paper, and I decided that I was gonna do some fussy cutting to make those clusters. I was looking for relatively large clusters of florals that were already together on the pattern paper, but I also cut out a few that were just on their own in case I would do some layering for those different areas. I fussy cut these florals to be larger than I might actually need them because I can always cut them down once I start laying out the photos and the embellishments. But I wanted to keep them together in case I wanted it to spread across a little bit further. So I know I needed at least 2 big clusters of florals. So I have 4, like I mentioned. I just had extra small ones in case I wanted to layer on top. I also made a note to try to cut out pieces of the pattern paper that had the gold foil because I really liked that aspect to the pattern paper. And when I made a decision to not use it as one of the base layers, I just knew that if I had used it, I would have covered up all that gold foil, and that would just been a waste. So then I moved on to this pattern sheet of paper I had. They're like mini frames that you can cut apart, and I decided to just cut up a few and use them as layering pieces around the different clusters. Now I'm looking at the sketch to try to match where the floral clusters were and where the other bits of embellishments were going. To help the photos pop up a little more, I did use some foam adhesive, and I positioned them in a way where if I wanted to tuck more embellishments underneath the photos, I would still be able to do that. So matching the sketch, I am lining up my 3 photos across the page, taking the flowers I fussy cut and putting them on top, and then a set on the bottom. I was still moving my photos around because I wanted to tuck more pieces underneath them. and also make room for the florals to stick out in the different corners of the page. As you can see, one of the florals that I had cut out was a little too big, so I just snipped it right off and was able to tuck it a lot better underneath. I'm using those cutouts from the pattern paper with the Polaroids, and I ended up not keeping all of them, but I did feel like they did add some layers to the page. I did try to vary up the colors a little bit. So on top of the pink, I did the orange, a bright pink, and a green. Whereas over the teal, I had a bunch of the pastel pinks and the lighter colors for layering. I had also pulled a number of scrap pieces to put into the kit, and I used those to also layer on top of those little Polaroids. I definitely was picking contrasting colors so that it wasn't too monochromatic on half the page. This page feels extremely feminine, and I liked some of the Maggie Home cut-aparts sheet that also gave it that whimsical floral feel. So a lot of those small pieces are from cut-aparts from her big 12 by 12 pages. Now I'm moving on to the title, and I had a title on my little journaling block, but I ended up changing it to Yes to the Dress. Unfortunately, I realized after I had put the kit together, of course, that I didn't have enough ease. And I knew I still wanted to use these stickers. I love the color. It goes really well with the overall color combination. So I made my own. I took the letter C and I took some of the apostrophes. We have tons of those in a thicker pack, and just basically glued them kind of together to form the E. And unless you look really carefully, you can't tell. So I was really happy about that. But here's the kicker. After I had finished the page and started putting all my supplies away, I noticed that my other pack had two E's on it, and they hid from me so well that I didn't realize. But I'm still actually very happy with how I ended up making my E's, because I needed three of them, and two just wasn't going to cut it, and I'd rather the three E's look very similar to each other, even if they were MacGyvered together. So it worked out in my favor, and I have two more E's to use in the future for a future layout. I also felt like there was an empty space up top by the florals, so I decided to put the date up there as well using the thickers. I never use the numbers, or not as often as I would like, so I'm really trying to keep that in mind when I put that together. Now for my one line of journaling, I decided to also mat that onto a thicker strip of piece of paper so it stands out a little bit more and doesn't just blend right into the background. And because on the sketch, the journaling had multiple rows and I only have one, so I did go into the supplies I had in the kit and found a couple of word phrases. They're on this sticker sheet. It's not stickers. They're just regular paper words from like a studio calico kit I had in the past, and picked out a couple of phrases that I felt were applicable. So I stuck with like warm hearts, friends till the end, and then like an XOXO. As for the rest of the page, I'm adding more embellishments that I had put into my kit. They're all this nice soft colored pastel items. I had these really cute sequin filled tulle bows, if that makes any sense. They have little stars in them, and I thought they were adorable. I also had a couple of glittered felt hearts, and those were also in this color combination. Had a pink one, a light blue one, and a light aqua one. And then I also had tiny little birds. Birds are not related to this page. However, because of all the flowers and the bows, the birds kind of just blended right in. The wood veneer pieces just blended right into the different clusters that I had. And then I also had these tiny enamel flowers with a pink center. So because of just the color combination, I also pulled these for the kit, and they work really well just to add a different kind of texture and layer to the layout. And that's pretty much my process for this page. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I do these page kits every month, and I show you guys what I do with them. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye.